All right, welcome into another episode of Screen the Screener. I'm Steve Mensch. That's Tyler Besman. He's the little one. Fergie is out in Montana, and we have a very special guest today. Special episode of Screen the Screener. We're going to do a review of Draft Day, and we got my good friend and co-host from the McShay Show, Todd McShay. Thanks for coming on, Todd.
What's happening, guys? This is I'm honored.
You're in my world now.
Yeah,
let's go.
I also liked messing with you a little bit a few minutes before the podcast. Where's the link? Like, you get a taste of the nightmare that is my life sometimes. What's going on? This is exciting.
I want to get right into it because this is an emotional pod for me, because every year I hear two things. I hear pancakes. I get a text about pancakes no matter what, and I get a question of who is the David Putney in this year's draft, and I hate it because I can't stand this movie. We'll get into it, but we'll start here.
Go ahead.
The cast is great. There's everyone who's anyone in the draft community is in this movie except Todd McShay, and I want to know
what year did this movie come out? Do you guys remember?
2014.
2014.
April 11th. It was just before the draft.
So it's been 11 years from this draft. So here's the backstory that I've never told. This is kind of cathartic, kind of therapeutic, okay? And it's outside of loving you guys, and especially Steve, and I've gotten to know Tyler a little bit, and Matt. We just met at the graduation party, but I feel like I'm in a safe space, and I can finally talk about this. I think 10 years was the limit on it.
Yeah, you have a new home. I think you can let this all out.
So yeah. I'm in like the midst of it, right? I'm trying to climb the draft ladder at ESPN. And I think this is the first year. In fact, I know this is the first year that I got elevated from like the day 3 set, okay, where I was on with like Wingo, and it was Wingo and Kuiper and whoever. I think Herm Edwards was there, and maybe one other person at the time. That was the previous couple of years, right? And it started out, they bought out the War Room, turned it into Scouts Inc. at ESPN. I was doing some radio. Then I got elevated to College Game Day radio. Then it was like, maybe you can come on and do some ESPN news. Then it was Jacobs. Glenn Jacobs was the producer. He called me one day and was like, "Hey, Todd, I had this idea. Would you be okay if we put you and Kuiper together on SportsCenter?" He had the 6 p.m. SportsCenter. And so that was the first, and I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, have you talked to Mel about this? He's like, yeah, that's the thing. I was like, well, Glenn, like, I appreciate you asking me, but this isn't about me. This is about Kuiper. So that's kind of how it started for the first 4 or 5 years at ESPN. We were just writing reports, doing our thing, and I was kind of getting gradual, bumps up a little bit. So then I finally get to the point where I get on day 3, and that's a big deal, right? It's a huge deal. I'm on TV for the draft and Saturday, and for the whole day. But I really wanted to be a part of that first night set. Of course. But you're right. I mean, who doesn't? Any job you have, I think we can all relate. You want to get to, you have goals. So I had just gotten elevated up to the night 2 of the draft, which was on ESPN. And it was Berman still. It was Kuiper and John Gruden, okay? So they brought me in for the Friday night, but I was going to be down there for the first night of the draft, but I would come down late, okay? I had to do all the sports centers, all the NFL Lives, all those shows from Bristol. But at that time, it was always in New York. It was at Radio City Music Hall, as you guys saw in the movie. Yep. I know I'm going on a rant, but I honestly, I've got to get this off my chest. So there's like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the draft, I'm locked in. I'm on that set. We've had production meetings, all this stuff. Then there's a little bit of buzz that is it Reitman?
Ivan Reitman.
Ivan Reitman, the director, right? Director and producer, I think, of the movie, came to Bristol, and people were talking, and all of a sudden, like, some people at ESPN were going to be on this movie. I fell in love with the concept of being involved in football when I was in college, my junior year. I actually went to see Jerry Maguire by myself at the theater, and I thought I wanted to be an agent. Then I kind of dabbled in that with Peter Warwick and and Ron Dugans, and D. Jack, Darryl Jackson, Travis Taylor, all those guys, and decided 3 months in, like, get me out. Like, I want to do the scouting thing, right? But I had in my mind, and I guess I was just obsessed, and this is why it was like healthy and therapeutic for me, that like the next time there's going to be a movie about the draft, I want to be in it. Just a goal.
Yeah, good luck.
So my agent calls and is like, hey, another agent and CAA at the time. I was talking to, I forget somebody else who was going to be in the movies. Like, we're trying to talk to them. And then someone from the PR group from ESPN was like, are you going to be down there? It was Friday night at the time. I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday then.
So this must have been the 2013 draft because it came out in 2014.
Correct.
They must have shot it the year before. So yeah,
they did. So I'm getting a sense of like, oh, I might be in this movie. You know, like, it's all going to come full circle. And then I go to talk to Seth Markman. I'm like, hey, I know I'm supposed to go down late after all the sports centers, but can I get out early? There might be an opportunity to be on this movie and all that. And then like a couple days go by and he comes back and is like, I'm sorry, we need you here. We have no other draft analysts. You got to be on. And in my mind, I got
else is in the movie.
In my mind, I got held out of the movie because I had to do some sports centers and different shit like that, right? The reality was, like, I don't think Ivan Reitman or anyone he barely knew who I was or had any interest in me, but there were some, like, you know, side roles and different things. I thought I could be involved. So they go down. Car services show up to Bristol. I see it out the window. They're all getting piling in, like, literally. It's like, yes, Matt. You're like, no, like, save a seat. And so they go down, and I talk to Kuiper, and he's talking about how, you know, cool it was and weird, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm talking to Mayock and that set and Rich Eisen, and it was devastating to me at the time.
I bet.
So I decided I'm never watching that movie.
So you've never seen it until you watch it for this show.
Mensch, Steve comes to me last week or 2 weeks ago, and it was like, we want to do a thing on Screen the Screener, a draft day. And I still was like, I don't know.
That's fair though.
You know?
That. I'll say this. One of the best parts of it, Berman killed it. I thought Berman was great with the opening. And then when he came on later on, I thought Berman killed it. He was good. Some of the other personalities was like all of a sudden, you know, guys are falling out of the, you know, falling out of the sky. Like Dion's all of a sudden a draft analyst and, you know.
But he was working for NFL Network at that time.
He was, yeah.
But and then it will all everything about me. But let's bring it back to me.
No, we want to hear this.
But I will say this: sitting last night on the couch watching this movie, it was almost like it was therapeutic and like, the hell was wrong with me? You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
Well, yeah.
And it's part of like why I love this new job, this new gig, and like, gosh, you get so caught up in all the like. All of that stuff. And right, I'm like, this movie's and like, you know what I mean? And like, it's not really about the draft. Like, this could have been.
It's not about the draft.
No. It's not. And we could get into like, but it's not about the draft. This could be This could be a setting in the White House. This could be a setting. You guys could like the Gloucester fisherman. Like, it's the same story. It's just give me a different setting to provide some of the energy. So.
I want to get into that in a second.
It felt good. It felt good.
Get your.
I closed a chapter.
You're serious? That's
Hell
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Closure is good.
Yeah,
I'm
it
glad
is.
I didn't answer your question of what the hell's wrong with you because it could have got awkward fast. But that being said, I want to get your take on these trades. This is one of the things that drives me wild about this.
I knew this was going to be like.
I will say.
You take everything so literally and personally. I knew you were going to be pissed.
Listen, you know this is where this is going. We're still going to go that route, okay? I can't stand at the end of the night they're walking around like they just had the 1974 Pittsburgh Steelers draft. Like they're all celebrating for the haul they got. This is the reality, okay? They trade 3 number ones to go from 7 to 1. That seems pretty rich to me, but if Bo Callahan is who everyone thinks Bo Callahan is, the
only thing I appreciated was they gave a real life example of what Washington gave up to go to 2 with the Rams. that year with Daniel Snyder flying his private jet all around and doing that whole thing.
Right. So there is some, there's some precedent for it. I get it. But they give up 3 to go up there, and they don't know the kid. But we'll get into that in a second. Okay. All right.
So
they go up there, and then they turn around after making this trade and trade 3 second rounds to go from what I'm assuming is at 39. I'm assuming they're picking 7th in the second round. Let's just make that assumption because I don't think they say it. They give up their next 3 second rounds to move up to pick 6 to get their 2 first rounders back to go back to pick 7. It's like, what are we doing here? This is madness. Okay. And here's what you end up, right? You end up with an undersized edge.
I love how you're actually analyzing a Hollywood draft.
You get an undersized edge with the first overall pick. They could have gone 15, by the way. We know the teams who are at like in the teens were doing their background on this kid because they thought he might be available. And you end up a running back at 7. So that running back's got to be a Bijan Robinson or an Ashton Genty. Genty went 6, Robinson went 8. He's got to be that kind of level. But also remember that you still at the end of the night are out those second round picks. So you've gotten an undersized edge and a running back and given up all your second round picks for the next 2 years. I'm like, what? Why are we like? And you didn't even stick it to Seattle because that was part of the other thing. Like that's the whole line. Like you pancake eating motherfucker. By the way, it was supposed to be an R-rated movie because of that line, but they got PG-13 somehow because you can't say motherfucker in a PG-13 movie. But that's the whole line. I get texts from like my buddy Brian all the time.
See, I'd so much rather come on this show and you be analyzing like the movie aspect of it.
We'll get to it, okay? We will get to it. But am I right? That's crazy, right? You gave up that much for a running back and an edge, and then at the end of the night, you're like, look what we did.
I think
they got all their picks.
Firing you.
I think the movie would have been better if if Sonny wasn't able to make that deal happen and Seattle called his bluff, and then he was stuck there. No first round picks in the future, no second round picks, and just sitting there with no idea. The other piece too, you're mentioning like the undersized edge and the running back that early. There was a corner taken at 5. Like that guy must be absolutely insane.
We had great combine numbers.
Had to have.
Guy.
You guys are all forgetting one fact. Vontae Mack, no matter what.
Yes.
No matter what.
The green sticky note.
Oh God. By the way, Chadwick Boseman is an amazing actor. If you haven't seen him play James Brown in that movie Get On Up, he's incredible. How we're casting that dude as a defensive end from Ohio State, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
No idea.
Well, they were going okay. All right, a couple things. The only insulting part of all of it, like, because the rest, if you're rational, and Steve, you're not, and it kind of like
I think it might just be too rational.
I feel like this is a microcosm of what our relationship has been for 25 years while working together. It's like you are the very literal, and you get angry, and you and I wind up having to talk you off the ledge. But I'm also a lunatic about other things. But like the only thing that was insulting to me, and you touched on it briefly, was that any GM at any point in time in the history of the NFL would be 12 hours, or I think it was down to 7 hours prior.
Yes.
Being like, okay, 7 hours till we draft. Let's start scouting this guy.
Yeah, let's look into him.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and how you wouldn't have gone straight to the tape immediately. Like I kept like, why is he waiting to go to the second he got off the phone with Mac and he said that, it was kind of like this epiphany moment. It's like you walk straight in, you press a couple buttons, you watch those plays. Okay, but more importantly that he's going to those 3 dipsticks that are his staff. By the way, anyone else notice that like whoever the casting agency is the same for Veep?
Yes. Yes.
Did you guys notice that? I don't know the actor's name, but the guy sitting for the Browns at the table in Radio City Music Hall,
Kevin Dunn.
He was the yellow fever guy, right? He played
like the chief of staff. Maybe not the chief of staff, but someone high up in the vice president's office.
And then the tall guy is now a star. I don't know his. What? Yeah, Jonad.
They call him it's Jonah.
Jonah.
They call him Jonah.
Jonah. But that was aside. But to go to your staff and be like, find something like the character, medical, like that part was insulting. The rest is like, all right, it's Hollywood. Maybe the picks don't match up unless it get out the trade chart and all that stuff. To me, the part where like it was insulting to anyone who spends time in this business was that like, because then it sends a message to an audience that like you're that discombobulated.
Yeah, you just don't. It's crazy. It's crazy. I will say this: it almost bothered me because maybe you could talk about some of the Shedeur Sanders stuff that went on. Because it seemed like there were some similarities with the $100 story, where they're in the movie, Bo Callahan gets the book and there's $100 taped to the back.
I've actually heard that, by the way. That actually has happened in real life.
That was that Jamarcus Russell?
It might have been.
I read that there was a rumor that this is what had happened with Jamarcus Russell. So there was some truth to that. And then who sent it back and said save the championship, Brian Drew.
Yeah.
So, like it was just. The whole Bo Callahan thing is kind of rough now when you look at it because, one, they would have done their background. Two, I think, Tyler, you wanted to talk about this a little bit. Who was Bo Callahan's agent?
Diddy. And that might have been the reason. That might have been the reason that nobody went to his birthday party. Is Diddy probably was the one that threw it. So
it was a wild birthday party, man.
Yeah, that was a wild one.
I just wrote because I took down a couple notes to remember like the names and stuff like that. I just wrote Diddy ? Oh boy, like I don't know, like so that didn't age well, but like I feel like
there was a couple things that didn't age well. They were talking about like Bo Callahan's girlfriends. I was like, guys aren't sitting around. I'm not saying that like
a website with
right,
but again, like that's all Hollywood. Like
right. Like the strength and conditioning coach slapping Sonny's
God.
ass on the way out. I was like, dude, bro, that's just not a thing.
Well, I figured out that this movie was not made for NFL fans. It was strictly made for people who don't really follow the NFL. And that happened when the first thing it said, Seattle, home of the Seahawks. And I'm like, who in the NFL doesn't know that Seattle Seahawks? And then it's 13 hours before the draft, and the owner and the GM sit down, and the owner's like, well, we should really talk about trading this first-round pick, or the very first pick. Who's a sucker enough to overpay for it? And I'm like, you're having this conversation 13 hours before the draft?
Matt.
I immediately wrote off the rest of the movie, and I was like, I'm just going to enjoy this for the sheer terrible terrificness that it is full of.
So
this cast was hysterical.
Matt, that's a good point. I actually learned a valuable lesson doing eventually I did get on the first night of the draft, right? But it was with ABC, and that audience, it always came on. The first night came on after, or no, it was in place of what's like that longest. It's the medical show, Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy, yeah.
I think it was in place of Grey's Anatomy. Okay. So we literally had production meetings, and like every year it would be like an executive from ABC coming in and explaining, like, here's the deal. We're trying to keep that audience that's going to come on and they're so used to Thursday night, it's 8 p.m. And so you got to start from you've got to pretend in your mind that but like literally your audience, there's going to be 7 to 9 million, 4 to 7 million, whatever it was watching. 1 million of those people are going to be, or maybe 2 million will be diehards that are looking for all, and you'll get to them, and we'll get the stories in, we'll get the backgrounds, we'll get the heights, the weights, and all that stuff. But those people they want to see you guys talk about it because it's Herb Street and Dez, and so but they're sticking around. We got to keep the Grey's Anatomy audience. And we're all like, just meatheads like, oh, fuck that. Fuck Grey's, and giving like side eyes. Like, what do you mean? Like, so I can't talk about like a bench press. So, but the whole point of it was tell a story. Like, and that the ABC broadcast was always like, we'll tell the journey, right? My least favorite word in the English vocabulary. But so you learned over time, like, yeah, we can still service our audience and we can still talk about all the nitty gritty, but like bring him in with something. Tell him Baxter, like I sat on the sideline with Nick Saban and Nick told me this about this player and gave him the keys to the locker room. And this guy works. So stuff that it's just about storylines and all that. And I'm sure Reitman was like the same principle. I'm going to get every NFL fan to watch this because it's called Draft Day and the setting is the NFL draft. The people that I've got to keep in this, and get to watch are people who want to know, like, have the storyline. And like right away off the top, and I almost text you and be like, I can't do it. Jennifer Garner's role, the salary cap. Like all I could envision was a significant other trying to pick a relationship fight with me the morning of the draft, and I'm on TV. I'm not running a draft, and I was like, I don't know if I can finish it. But it came around, and I like my edges got softer as I watched the movie. I'm like, I'm here for the story. No, yes.
No, here's what I'm going to tell you. I hear what you're saying, and I think you have a great point about the broadcast. I do, and I think you have a good point about the movie. There's got to be that side of it, right? But here's what they went with, okay? Tell me where I'm wrong with this. This is Sonny Weaver's day. Jennifer Garner, by the way, is 17 years younger than him. So he's with this younger cap analyst from his front office.
In real life or?
No, this is for the movie.
Okay.
So she tells him the night before the draft, she's pregnant. She couldn't wait a couple days.
Yeah, we're going to need to wait till Saturday on that one.
Yes. She tells him the night before the draft, she's pregnant. Then we find out that Sonny has fired Sonny's dad was the old coach. And he had to fire his dad. So Sonny has fired his dad. Then we find out the mom's pissed about it, but he had to do it because his dad was dying. It's just drama upon drama upon drama. We could have done like 2 or 3, maybe 2 of those things. Like his mom wants to spread the ashes the night of the draft. Like we got to pick it 10 minutes. She's like, great. Can you come out and read this Gaelic poem while I spread your dead dad's ashes all over the field? Can we do that? Like, it was like, what are we doing here? Do we have to have all of this drama? And by the way, I will say that Kevin Costner, I'm a huge fan. I love Kevin Costner. He's made some terrible things. I love Kevin Costner. I love Jennifer Garner. Their chemistry is negative. It was.
I agree.
When they had the kiss at the end, I was like, oh, I don't want to see it. Like,
I actually like I like Jennifer Garner. I'm going to get in trouble for this. I think Jennifer Garner's a pretty good, a good actress, right?
She is.
Sexually, like, I don't like Ben Affleck. Like, I don't quite get it. And yeah.
She's not your type.
But she played, like, it was believable that she would be in an NFL front office. I feel like there's a lot of women in NFL front offices. And she was believable that, but the
writing was bad for her. The writing, we can always talk football, and we can, like, it was always just, it was like, make her more of it was just like a hollow character. If you'd written it out the correct way, I think you make it a better story. You make her a better character. You let her sink her teeth into a little bit. It was all just so like hollow, and all this drama it was all about Sonny Weaver. This was a Kevin Costner movie, and it would have been great if it was a giraffe movie, but instead they made it into a Kevin Costner movie. And I'll say this. I know that Simmons does this on there when they do review movies, and I'll throw this out to you guys. This would be a way better 8-episode Netflix series. And you don't even have to, like, you could do it. You don't have to do a documentary style like every team is doing right now. You could actually make a story with actors and turn this into an 8 thing where you start digging in on who these players are and who the veterans are. Like, get into it a little bit deeper. It was all superficial.
I couldn't stop thinking about that when watching it last night.
Right?
Like I don't know, like what's it, Soderbergh, right? No,
Steven Soderbergh.
No, Sorkin. I'm thinking Sorkin, and I know Sorkin catches all sorts of hell and all that. But I'm thinking like I do too. I'm thinking like West Wing was one of the best in terms of like getting into the nitty gritty, the day to day of what happens in the White House, right? If you had someone like Sorkin, but it would take time, man, and you'd have to do it right.
Yes.
But I think if you did it right the first time, you could build that into a franchise.
Yes.
Like really actually going and studying. And then I don't know if you guys ever watched like The West Wing. They would have like these occasionally an episode because there were like 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Are you? Okay, so you.
I've never seen it.
I was gonna say I'm shocked.
Yeah, I loved it.
But it was like not an outtake show, but it was like a behind the scenes show every once in a while where they would actually interview the people who were the actual people that they were acting, right? And get a feel for what the roles were. And I think you could even do some of that. Like you go like sit down with Les Snead with the Rams. Like you could you could do like a one-off, not a one-off, but like if there's 10 shows, one of the 10 could be here are the people that were willing to sit down and give us the time to help us create this and let them tell their real story. You know, like I think there's something there, but I don't have the production budget to pull it off.
Yeah, there's so many stories in this that, and I think maybe that's what tripped him up. Right, this was, by the way, this was the last movie that Reitman directed, and he was pretty late in the game for him in terms of his life and his career.
It felt rushed.
It did, and I think some of the things that I will say this: I've watched it before, and I've hated those wipes that they do with the phone calls, and they're walking in and out of the screen.
I thought that was sick. I
thought about it more, and I'm Tyler. I'm not.
I like
that
too.
I came around on it. I was like, you have to do this somehow. And it would be boring if you just had a split screen. It actually was probably a good decision. You have to have these phone calls. But going back to it, think about all the storylines you could have. And you start at the top with the GM. You don't have to make that the most dramatic thing ever. I mean, the guy fired his dad who was dying. And then he finds out his girlfriend's pregnant. His ex-wife's walking in his building. His mom's walking in the building. Everyone's fighting. It's like, and the new head coach hates him. That's another thing, by the way. That was to get back into this really quick.
Fire that guy.
I love Dennis Leary. Like he was just another poorly written part. And we've talked about this all the time. You coaching a general manager better.
It was poorly cast too. Like I love Dennis Leary too, but that's not his role.
Thing, right? You guys.
Here's what it felt like. Here's what it felt like. I'm going to blank on the name, but you guys will know. Black Mass, right?
What's his name?
When
Whitey Bulger.
Whitey Bulger, yep.
Johnny Depp.
Played by Johnny Depp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how they actually like dug in. Like I grew up kind of around that whole situation from the Italian side, even though I'm Irish. So one of the Italian family that's featured in, like, I'm careful to even mention names, but I'm just, like, they dug in.
Todd.
Yeah. The Angela. I grew up with BJ Angela. We went to high school together. She was a really good friend. Great, like, wonderful, wonderful girl. We spent a lot of time there. Like my buddy Matt and I Matt O'Neill, you've met the chef. Yeah, like
great guy.
We used to go hang Christmas lights on their wreaths. Like, so like I didn't know that much, but like to see like they really dug in and did that story right. Yes. Then there was the one with Matt Damon and Leo DiCaprio.
The Departed.
Yeah,
The Departed, which was a blast of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, right? But then you saw Black Mass, is that right?
Yeah.
After, and we're like, oh, this is like the real story.
Yeah, The Departed is a great mob movie. I think it's a great mob movie. It's supposed to be based on Whitey Bulger. Jack Nicholson's character is obviously supposed to be Whitey Bulger.
Obviously, yeah.
But it doesn't, that's not what happens. Black Mass is the Whitey Bulger movie. I mean, Johnny Depp morphs into that guy. And that's what I would want too. Like, that's what I want from this draft movie. I hope they do, or a draft show. I hope they do it again, because again, it's tough to do in a movie. Maybe that's what tripped them up. You can go with all of these different GMs, all their personalities, all their different approaches, and then just filter down like all the people who are in the building. The scouts are a joke in this movie. The scouts look bad. I mean, look like they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it was insulting. It was insulting.
They get into one veteran player in Brian Drew. It would be great if they had other, like, these are the guys who have families who could potentially lose their jobs this weekend. And that's kind of a darker side of it. But for TV and entertainment, if you're watching a TV show, you're like, man, this is fascinating. There's a veteran offensive tackle who's been there for 12 years, didn't have a great year and is coming off an injury, and they just drafted a guy in the first round. What's that mean for him? I mean,
I found myself pulling for some, like, I kind of got into some of it, though. I'm not going to lie. Like
what?
I was like Vontez Mack.
I like
Vontae
that.
Mack. Yeah. By the way,
I like that
calling,
piece.
Was it Vontez or Vontae?
It's
Vontae.
I kept saying
Vontae.
Vontez. I
Okay.
thought, like, is there a Vontez Mac somewhere?
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
So
But it's
Vontae Mack, like the grandmother, kids, like
Dude.
all of it.
If a player tweeted out a trade before it was announced,
I
oh
feel
my
like
God.
we've seen.
Also, don't get on Twitter. Some of the things there's no analytics group in this movie. They talk about going into
It was
the film vault.
2013. There wasn't like a ton of.
Me, really? You don't think so? I was wondering.
I'd have to go back and look. It was
They
around
actually
then.
have to go in to get Bo Callahan's tape. They say they have to go to the film vaults and pull it out. And I was like, in 2013, I thought this was digital at that point. It
I don't
felt
remember.
digital at 2013.
I don't
You know
remember.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was this couple things that I thought like just didn't age well in terms of the technology and all of that stuff. But overall, this is what the Browns got. Was they spent 3 second-round picks to get a running back at 7. They overdrafted a defensive end at 1, and they got a punt returner. A punt returner. It better be Devin Hester. I want to know more about David Putney. They don't go into David Putney enough. You know what I wish this movie was? It's too much Blindside and not enough Moneyball.
Yes. It's
But
a
they got
Goodwill
the
version
player
of
they-
Moneyball.
Say it again.
It's a Goodwill version of Moneyball. That's what I felt the whole entire time.
Walmart version, yeah.
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 Moneyball is amazing.
Yeah, one of the best
Amazing.
movies by
The
far.
Blind Side is if you ever read the book The Blind Side, it is nothing. It is nothing like the movie. They get into all of the Michael Orr struggles. They get into
I got into trouble with that one too.
oh yeah, man. I mean, it was just
I called
we're-
Michael Orr soft and not a hard worker, and
Yep.
and then the whole cast showed Sandra Bullock and the actual woman, and everyone showed up to Bristol. It was ugly.
The
Damn.
Toonies. Is that their name? The
Damn.
I
Toonies?
think so. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
ugly. I had some
Listen
rough
to-
years in Bristol, man.
Yeah.
Derek
You've
Carr
never
hunting
been a-
me down in the hallways, like literally tracking me down.
You've never been afraid.
Just don't badmouth Brian Drew because you know he'll track you down.
Yeah,
that's right.
trash my office.
Listen,
true.
Brian Drew's a great guy. I mean, it was Jalen Carter. I mean, you've never been afraid to throw a punch.
To tell the truth, but yeah.
Well, yeah, not to, yeah, you're right. To say what you need to say. All right. Is there any other, because I know you got to run, Todd, any other things you want to run by him? Anything you guys want to say really quickly about how bad this movie is? Because it's bad.
I didn't mind it as much as you, Mensch.
Once I accepted that it was not made for NFL fans, it was made for other people. I was able to kind of let it go but when he's getting his 3 first-rounders back and he's like, what else do we need? I'm like, you're the general manager of the team. You should know exactly what you need. Why are you asking everybody else? And then I was like, yeah, I got to let it go. I had to do a lot to let it go. Just let it go.
I think that's why it was therapeutic for me. I wasn't not in a draft movie. I was not in a rom-com
Movie about
or
the
like
draft.
a movie that was set in the draft, but like it was not a draft movie.
If this is
Mayock
one-
was pretty good.
Mayock was pretty good.
Mayock was the best of all the
Your guy.
analysts. My guy. Mike was pretty good.
He was. We did also talk about the fact that after
Gruden and Mike stood out to me.
there was a Gruden comment.
I think Kuiper was a little nervous.
I agree.
I think Kuiper's nervous on draft night.
Well, Kuiper is nervous on draft night. It's not. I wouldn't. It's like nervous energy or something. But
Excited nerves. Yeah.
he gets angry. I
Sure.
promise you.
You have a type that you like to work with. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, I don't choose them.
But
But
that
yeah.
was that came out April.
Mel should have been more featured,
Definitely. That I would.
and they
I would
should have
definitely
they should have
agree with
poked the bear and got him on a rant.
If it
and he
happened
could have been-
today, he would.
But
be.
Gruden jumped in and kind of stole his thunder from the ESPN stuff.
Right.
Well,
They should have. They. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I was going to say, I thought it was interesting that Shedeur Sanders slide this year is a little bit compares to the Bo Callahan. And could you have gotten Mel Kiper jacked up about Bo Callahan sliding like he did about Shedeur Sanders?
Like that's why I
God,
needed
you
to be
would've.
on the movie. If I was on the set, I would have turned to Alan. Is it Alan Reitman?
Ivan.
Ivan.
I would have been like, Ivan, give me a minute, and I would have poked him, and we would have gotten into a fight. I promise you.
Roll it.
That was my only value at ESPN is I knew exactly the moment and how to with Mel and get him going. Yeah.
So this came out April 11th, 2014. That's the Bortles, Manziel, Bridgewater draft where Bortles went 3 and no one expected it. Manziel fell. I think he went 22. Yep. And then Bridgewater went 32. So there was a quarterback that fell, and Gruden said on set, "This is better than draft day." So he actually referenced the movie while this was all going down.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. So it's not that they had a guy. They did have a quarterback that fell that year.
And I remember being in studio. I didn't go down till after the actual draft. I got down there like 1 a.m. And I was smoked. I was like fuming all night. That's right, because I remember sitting in there with Wingo and I forget who else. With the I think it was the first year that Polian was there.
Yeah,
that was. Remember right. Polian? He's got magic. Talking John. It was the first or second year that Bill was there.
Yeah.
So I was in the studio doing. I don't even remember what it was, but yeah.
When it was at Radio City Music Hall, I remember you used to have to make that drive. And Todd, I think people just knew. Some people may not know this, but Todd had he had to do online stuff too. So he would be from the studios on Thursday night. I think wasn't it Friday night for a while? Wasn't it just 2 days? Wasn't it Friday
Friday Saturday, right?
It was Friday Saturday. Oh,
Thursday came late. Yeah, it was Friday Saturday.
So you would do that first night in the studios, and then they would throw you in a car, and you would be done. And it's not when everyone else is done with the draft. Todd still has to do 32 hits on players for video, and then they would like throw him in a car, send him to New York, and then he would get a phone call from our guy, Ben Arledge, who's now, it would be a bunch of different guys, but Ben Arledge is a great dude. I would not want to be Ben that night. Ben would have to call Todd and then be like, we have to do A, B, and C for the website.
For a 2-hour drive, I would be talking through that, get to Midtown Manhattan at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and got to be
at what time?
Like 5. It was bad.
Like production meetings, yeah.
And to be on TV in front of like 7 million people. That was rough. I don't miss those days.
Yeah, people think it's just, when I throw on the TV, he's there, and then that's it. It was never like that. Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh well. Man, no, this is fun. This is honestly like, what does a therapy session cost? I got my money's worth.
I'll send you the bill.
Yeah,
we got you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. How are you guys doing? All right. You guys good?
Matt's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Living life here in Montana.
What's Montana like this time of year?
It is about 40 degrees at night and 90 degrees during the day. I was just in Yellowstone Park earlier today, cruising around, so I got to see some bison and elk and geological features. I love it out here. It's amazing.
How far is Yellowstone?
It is 40 miles. The North Gate is 40 miles from here.
I've only spent time out there in winter time. So, but I hear everyone. Everyone says it's amazing this time of year.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to bust out the fly rod and go do a little bit of fly fishing here.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
It's like golf.
My patience level.
I bet you could do it.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
You're
chilling for whiteys. That's how it.
Trolling for whiteys is a term. If it's too windy, you just put the line out the back of the boat, and you just catch fish. And they call them whiteys because they're white bellies, right, Matt? Is that right?
They're white fish. They're sucker fish. They feed on the bottom.
Yeah,
but they call them whiteys.
We went a couple years ago, and Tyler and I did nothing but troll for whiteys.
We didn't do much at all.
Yeah,
I equate it to golf. It's about patience and tempo, and just the fact that you're outside and in nature. I mean, even if you're not catching fish, you're in some of the most beautiful country that you could possibly in the world.
Yeah, a loss is still a win. Yeah.
Yeah, the ride is unbelievable, man. And the guides are hilarious and awesome. And it's a good time.
Nice.
So, all right. Well, thanks for
We'll have to do a McShay show out there.
That'd be awesome. I would love
to. Oh, Mitch, did I tell you? Well, I shouldn't break news. I always do this.
I'd love to break news.
I think we might be doing a McShay show from Chicago potentially in September. Our first live show somewhere.
I'm going to Chicago with Matt in 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll scout it out.
Scout locations.
Let me know.
Nice.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just got that call yesterday, 2 days ago. So we'll see.
All right. Well, thanks for
I don't
coming
even
on.
ask you anymore if
You don't. No, you don't.
because I found that I used to ask you for 15 years, I could never get you. I just kind of try to tell you a couple weeks before.
Yeah, there's no for the McShay show. You just got to do it what's called upon.
Well, I appreciate you guys. This is fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Thank
on.
you, Todd.
Yeah,
Do you want
thank
to
you.
stay on, Todd? I mean, do you want to stay on, Ty, and talk about Halliburton, being out for a year?
Yeah, let's get it. And especially
right.
we have the draft tomorrow, so let's do it.
Okay.
The NBA
thanks.
draft?
The NBA draft. I get way too invested in.
Do you want to stay and give the NBA takes, or are you good?
No, but you should call Russillo, man.
I keep telling
I
Tyler.
know.
he's
I gotta
gotta
listen.
Watch him. Yeah.
He got me hyped up this morning because he gave a good ranking of the guy the Celtics just traded for. So I was already hyped up.
Everyone likes that trade for the season. Everyone. Thinks
Who do they get? I read
Anthony
it.
Simon.
Simon.
What's
yeah.
his deal? Give me 30-second scouting report.
He's a freak athlete that shoots 38% from the 3-point line and averages 9 threes attempts a game, which Celtics live or die by the 3. So he's the
So
ideal.
it makes
guy.
sense.
20 points last year, right? Or 19 something, right?
Throughout his career, he's averaged 20 points a game. So he's an elite scorer. Weakness is defense, but we could teach anybody how to play defense.
He's
in
26
Boston.
years old.
26 years old, same age as Tatum. So works out really nicely.
Okay. All right. I like it. All right, fellas. Have a great
All right,
rest of the
thank
show.
you.
I'll talk to you
Thanks,
guys
Todd.
soon.
Thank you.
All right.
See ya. Thank you. I wasn't sure this was going to work, that we were going to be able to stay on.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty sweet what we can do on Riverside.
We could have wrapped it. We'll talk about this on air because everyone wants to know. We could have wrapped it, but I figured you felt
Whoa, we
like-
just got breaking news from Boston. As we talked about it, Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn are finalizing a 3-team trade that sends Kristaps Porzingis and a second-round pick to the Hawks, Terrence Mann, Atlanta's number 22 pick, to the Nets, and Georges Niang and a second-round pick to the Celtics.
Interesting.
I hate that. That sucks.
I don't like
I
that.
I can't really say this because I don't know if you remember Olivia Connors that I grew up with. Her cousin is Georges Niang, and he is one of the most annoying players in the entire league. I can't stand the guy.
Why is he annoying?
Do you want him to play for you, though? Do you want him to be annoying for you?
Yeah, he's one of those players that you want him to play for you, but he's not good at all offensively. And to be honest,
I
he's
thought he
not
could
really
shoot.
that. He's not gonna. You're not gonna pass him the ball and like see him shoot a 3 and be like, "Yep, I'm confident." It's like 50-50.
I'm looking up his numbers.
I'm not a big Georges Niang guy. The other piece with him is like he's not great at defense where you're okay with him being annoying. He's like average at defense and then is annoying. So it's not like with Smart or Draymond Green where you're like, all right, well, you actually did a solid job. You can be annoying. He just lives to be annoying. And the other piece is he's rumored to be a little bit of a dirty player on defense where he just kind of throws his body around.
What do you
I like
think,
this.
George? What is Georges Niang's? What do you think his 3-point percentage was last year?
My only thing, because it seems
There we
like
go.
you've seen that it's relatively
I'm not sure
nice.
this is good. I'm not sure.
How
it's good.
many attempts is he taking a game with that percentage? That's
Well,
my only thing.
He's a
but
role
I'll
player.
say, so we just said Anthony Simons, that's starting player, that's going to shoot the ball a lot, is at 38%. I would say George is around 35%.
He is last year, he was 40.6. He's been 40% or higher for almost his entire career. I knew he could shoot, dude.
I don't believe it. I'm not taking it. I'm not
I don't
taking
know
it
what
at
to-
all.
Alternative facts.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
I mean, it's numbers, bro. It's just numbers.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, but weren't
Dude.
you saying that we had to shed the Porzingis contract to get
Money,
under the
yeah.
second apron?
Yeah.
And so at least you're getting a guy that can shoot a 3 and a second round pick, and now you're in a much better financial situation.
Yeah, so you basically, with everything today, you trade away Drew, you get away from that giant contract, which was $35 million next year and $37 million the year after that. Now you have an expiring contract with Anthony Simons. So now you have an option at the end of the year. but it also brought you closer to the second apron. Then getting rid of Porzingis, I believe, I would have to look into it, we are now under the second apron. That is massive. Like, massive. And I think it was 5 pods ago, which is crazy, but kind of went into, like, why it sucks to be above the second apron. So
Yeah.
It's great that this happened because we have the draft tomorrow. No way Brad is done. And the other piece, too, with Anthony Simons is it's rumored that he's never going to wear a Celtics jersey. Like, we are going to move on from him.
So we had, oh, really?
That's a rumor that, but that was before we traded KP. The rumor was around like we'll package Anthony Simon with KP to make that deal better, and then put him at a place where we're getting great return, whatever that ends up looking like. But we'll see. I mean, I want to see him in a Celtics uni, but we'll see.
Why would they? I don't understand. When he's
on an expiring contract, so
what's expiring mean? Like,
this is his last year of his contract. So that's where there's two sides of it, where one, this is the year that he needs to prove that he deserves a big contract.
Yeah.
But the other piece, too, is in the past we've done this, where we've had a guy in a 1 year, an expiring contract, and we trade him either before the season or before the deadline. Like Schroeder was a guy, my most recent memory, where we had him on a 1 year vet minimum, and before the deadline, we ended up trading him. So it'll be interesting to see what we do. But if he proves himself, I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics tried to keep him and tried to extend him. But the only issue is you have Pritchard and you have Derek White, and I'm just curious to see like how that fits, especially this year where you would push JB to the 3 spot with Simons 1, White 2, Brown 3, and then you'd have your 4-5. So it'd be interesting.
Who's your 4-5?
Keta.
I wish. But
Keta might be your 5, dude.
I hope so, but I think it's probably Al at 4, and it's probably I'm getting texts. People aren't really liking the trade, but the 5.
Al to re-sign. Read some of the texts. Are they good?
I hate Niang. This sucks. Brad, please. Wow, I can't talk. Brad, please trade him again. Why? That's basically it so far. It's just like dumb text.
I like it.
But,
I have to give a lot of credit to Brad Stevens, though, because everybody in the NBA knows that he's behind the 8 ball. And so the fact that he's able to move these contracts and actually get anything in return that's reasonable is pretty good, because every other GM's like, I know that you have to do this, so I'm going to offer you a used bag of balls for whatever you got. And so the fact that he's, getting players in return and on expired contracts and things like that, I have to give Brad some credit there.
I agree. Because that's where, like, a lot of the media was really giving him such a hard time, and the Celtics hard time, where they're like, they're not going to get out of this hole. Like, they're absolutely screwed. And we started to get to a point where it was like, okay, we're starting to get pretty old, when for a while we were like, oh, we were this young team, this promising team. And now we're getting super old, and Brad is just still wheeling and dealing, making moves when he didn't really have much.
I'm not sure Al resigns.
I mean, he said that he wants to. If he doesn't resign, then it does help us. I also think Hauser will be moved, so I think we will have a brand new roster.
They need to move Hauser now. Hauser may not have a higher market value than he does right now. I mean, he did not look good at the end there. And maybe he bounces back next year, but I would want to move on if I were them. I
agree. It was disappointing to watch him.
I mean, I really could care. I'm interested to see what happens. I love Drew Holiday, but I get it. I knew that had to happen. Porzingis got to the point where I think where he has been at every place this has happened to Porzingis. Everyone loves him. He's great. He's talented, and then he can't stay on the court, and that's what it feels like. So we kind of reached the end of our road with Porzingis. So I get this too. I'm interested to see how the dust settles. I'm way more concerned about the Bruins finding a way to get Connor McDavid. That's what I care about.
Trade 5 first-round draft picks. I will trade 5 first-round draft picks.
I don't care
for Connor McDavid.
I don't care. Trade everything. Everything.
There are no sacred cows.
Sacred cows in that one. Nope. Give them up. So anything else, Ty?
I guess my last thing with that is with the draft. I believe we also just gave up our first round pick, which I hate. So I think that's the other piece with that. So we gave up I believe we had the
Who
20.
are you getting that late in the first round, dude? I know. You know what? I hate asking.
There's a lot of great talent. Your boy Walter Clayton Jr., who is an absolute beast at Florida. No, perfect. All right. I'm okay.
So
it was the Hawks.
Clayton.
It was the Hawks. We are the.
Do we have 2 first-round picks now?
The 28th overall pick this year,
dude.
but it's a deep draft, so I'm excited. But it's a bigs draft, and we need bigs. We just were like, what's our 4 and our 5? It's a draft for bigs, and so I'm excited about this draft tomorrow.
I've heard there's
that we
depth,
were 22.
but
there's
depth is not 28 deep, man. In the NBA, I mean, you got to get lucky, but you got to be one of the few that hits after the top 20. After the top 15.
We see it a lot. I mean, Pritchard was that late.
You see it every once in a
Chris
while.
Middleton was that late.
So, for every one of those guys, there's 15 blue chippers, right? Like there's
right.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to get lucky at that point. You got to kind of get lucky a little bit.
But it's Brad Stevens.
But it's
Brad Stevens cooks.
But it's Connor McDavid. That's all I keep hearing about.
That's not going to happen. We know everything that I've heard from both of you with the Bruins. It's not Brad Stevens.
I read a very clickbaity article today that has me convinced that it might happen.
Yeah, well, I was the one that wrote that article, so
yeah.
Thank you for the viewership.
Someone knows how to tug on these heartstrings. I'll tell you that right now. And he writes for a website I've never heard of.
Question: what if Brad Stevens was to just go over to the Bruins and help him out? Help him out real quick.
Because I would be fine with it.
The Pats, I'm like okay with right now. But like, I think the Bruins and the Red Sox should be calling Brad Stevens and being like, "All right, dude, like what the hell do we do here?"
The Red
I think
Sox,
Brad could help him.
Nothing can help the Red Sox. They need new ownership.
That's a good
for
point.
that.
That's a good point.
It sounds like New England absolutely crushed this draft. I like to coming out of the draft. Early reports out of there, the Patriots absolutely crushed this draft. We'll see what happens. I'd give Brad all of it. I would give him the entire Northeast
just
region.
Sports czar.
I would let
New
him
England
run.
sports czar.
Yeah, well, yeah. Boston College Eagles. You need an NIL guy. I know a guy.
And honestly, he's such a psycho that you would probably want to do it. You'd be like, you know what? Why not? Like,
he'd probably
I might as
figure
well.
it out.
Yeah,
he'd probably figure out a way to do it because there's just no way you could do all of that stuff. But yeah, he's smart and he makes mistakes. They all make mistakes, but like, there's nothing that he does where I'm like, it's not like he, trades Rafi Devers for a bag of balls or hands or runs the organization into the ground and is like, look, I traded Marchand so Florida could win a championship and I got a first round pick. Look at me. Look what I did.
Right.
It's worse when I say it.
I do have one thing to say about Brad, just that I heard today that I'd never really thought of is Brad had crazy good success in college as a coach. And so he knows that game, that aspect of the game really well. And so I saw a report today where they were like, a lot of college coaches will kind of like fleece NBA GMs and basically tell them, like, as we all know in every single sport where it's, and I mean, we saw it in draft day where they talk about Bo Callahan. He's like, this is my baby. Like, I created him, whatever.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott. That was amazing casting.
A legendary actor.
And he's gonna be like, no, dude, I know the game. Like, that kid sucks. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go take the D3 player over this guy.
I traded. He traded. Was it Danny that traded back or Brad that traded back to get Tatum? We'll pick 3.
It was Danny. It was Danny Day Trader.
It was okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, but hey, Brad learned from Danny Day Trader.
I loved watching Brad at Butler when they would win those close games, and the way he would walk over to shake the other coach's hand was like, dude, this little dude is so stone cold. He's a dog. So like, oh, I look like a choir boy, but I just ripped your heart out. I just ripped the heart out of like some blue blood like basketball program, and I don't even care. All right,
did you watch the final, Steve? The game 7
finals.
The game 7.
I was at Fish, man. I was getting down.
Oh, that's right.
People.
There's no reason to watch it.
When I was watching it, and I immediately thought of you because all they kept doing was replaying the Halliburton injury. And I don't know if you've seen it, and it was disgusting because you could see basically you could see his leg go from this to this, and I was just like, stop showing it. Like, we all get it. He's done for the next year.
It's bad.
Like, it was awful. And the way he went down, you could tell that he wasn't so much in pain as he was like, I can't believe I just lost a year of eligibility, like a year of playing, and my next huge contract and everything.
I'm glad you brought that up. I already dropped a couple F-bombs in this, so I'm gonna drop an F-bomb here. Maybe we should shut the fuck up about calf strains. Maybe we should not talk about calf strains, because as Joel said, that aged about as well as a nightcap with Bill Cosby. I think that's a fair assessment on our Halliburton take, dude.
Yes.
That's what Joel. Did you see that, Matt? Were you a part of that text?
No, I wasn't, but I know that we had talked about how, like, you got to get back out there. And then he does it. He rips his leg apart.
I was calling him a baby.
You got to play through it, bro. What's the problem? It's just a calf strain. So our boy Joel texts us. He's like, hey, guys, we're going down to Boston for some show on Thursday. By the way, I listened to the pod. That Halliburton take aged about as well as Bill Cosby in a nightcap or something like that. I was like, Jesus, dude. Our apologies. We'll stay in our lane now. We'll avoid talking about that injury shit. But also, like, I will say this: Dame Lillard, Jason Tatum, and Halliburton, all like, it wasn't like, and not that you want to see any player, but it wasn't like T.J. McConnell and Peyton Pritchard these are big time players. Like,
well, it's even when KD got his injury, it was similar. He had a calf strain 2 games prior. He sat one and then played again and tore it.
Boom.
So it's great. And the other thing that people were like, there's 2 pieces. One, people were like, why were they all number 0? So Tyrese Maxey in Philly is terrified. The other, I'll knock on wood for him. The other piece was people talking about Siakam, because if you look at pictures of when Klay Thompson tore his ACL, Siakam's right there. KD, Siakam's right there. Tyrese Halliburton, Siakam's right there. Dame, Siakam's right there. Clay's was really bad, and Klay was done. So Klay tore his ACL, and I'm very shocked by it because we see ACL injuries and people turn around, like we're watching Stephon Diggs right now make kind of a crazy return.
Dude, it's camp. Can you calm down, please?
Well, I'm not talking about playing. I'm just talking about the way that he's moving after tearing his ACL, like 6 months ago?
But we're right back to playing doctor.
Whatever.
It's all that pink powder on the boat.
Exactly.
I don't know what he's got there, but.
And that's what Klay needed, because I think Klay was out for like more than a year. I think he was out for like 2 years. So his full career got like completely derailed because of that injury, which I feel like is becoming pretty common and we treat pretty well.
Klay doesn't get enough love, man. Klay doesn't get enough love.
I can't stand the guy, though. I can't stand the guy.
Such a good shooter, though. Such a good player for a guy who's like.
Before that injury, he was legitimately
so tough.
Yeah.
But he had a pretty good year this year, right? Didn't he play pretty well for Dallas?
I think he did. I think he had a solid year for Dallas. I like that move for them. I was like kind of pumped for Dallas to have a player like that where they have a veteran within that locker room, but then they got rid of Luka.
I would be pumped if the Bruins had a player like Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I would too, because it would make me watch hockey more. At least Bruins hockey more.
Oh my God! We'll talk about free agency with NHL. You know, Sam Bennett and Marchand are both they're both free agents, and all the Bruins fans who think that Marchand's bringing Sam Bennett to Boston.
They're all re-signing in Florida.
Dude.
They've been partying like crazy.
I saw people at the fish show have more of a clue than those guys.
Well, I keep hearing that Brad Marchand's going to Toronto, and that makes my heart hurt because I will hate him for that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That would be wild. That would be wild.
I'm like, why are you going there? Like, that is not your culture.
Or Montreal.
That is everything that you like despise and thumb your nose at. And
you could fix it. He could actually fix it.
Well, that too. Like, I'm kind of scared. Like, I don't want Toronto is the loser, right? They can't get out of the second round,
right?
And that's something that he could. So I just, please, dear Lord, don't let him go to Toronto.
Yeah, no.
And I don't want Sam. I don't want Sam Bennett.
I will take Sam Bennett in a heartbeat. That dirty
not at what he's going to get paid.
If he comes in here, he will be.
I'll take anybody.
I'll be the first one to take him to wherever he wants to go. Get him cannoli down the north end, whatever he wants.
Dude, the Bruins
Okay.
need Corbin Francelli. That's who they need.
I
A
need,
playmaking sniper.
I need Corbin Francelli so bad that I was like, does he have the PlayStation 5 out there, you think? Like,
I have
No.
contemplated purchasing one to leave out here so that I can just transfer. Because once you log in, like you can access all your stuff, right?
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's not like unit specific.
Yeah.
This
Put
is
it-
thrilling
put it up
podcast
in
stuff an hour in for our listeners.
When are you
Put it
back?
up
When do
in
you get
the
back?
rec barn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
July
should-
3rd.
Yeah, let's wrap it. July 3rd. What are you doing? You're out there for a
Uh,
while. All right, let's wrap it up. We did pretty well. It was great to have Todd on.
Absolutely.
Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube, Screen the Screener, the pod. Check us out on Instagram, all of that stuff. You know what I was going to say, Ty? Are we on Instagram? We're on Instagram, right?
Yeah, dude, we're on Instagram.
Why are you making fun of me?
Everybody's on Instagram. We've been on Instagram for 38 episodes.
I know. Why are you making fun of me for saying it then?
I just
You're
love
in
that
charge of
you've
this
never
one. I don't know
said the
why-
handle once.
I don't know
All right,
why
you-
we're giving.
Do you want me to
the
close it out?
fool- Yeah, I don't know why you're giving. I don't know why I am constantly the guy. I'm the hype guy when I
All
have
right.
a 24. Are you 24?
25. I had to think about that for a
25-year-old.
sec.
A
All right,
25-year-old. Yeah, go. Let's say you do. If I could turn it off right now, if I had that power, we could turn it off right now.
So you can find us on Instagram. Search up the screener .pod. You can also look us up on Twitter at @screen_screener. You can also see us on TikTok. You see my most recent
Don't be a
TikTok that I
dick
put out
about
the
it.
other day called Screen the Screener. Or you can find us on Spotify. Search up Screen the Screener, and you'll see our SS logo pop up there. But
Okay.
have a fantastic rest of your day and enjoy the draft tonight because this is coming out Wednesday morning. Adios.